Very few cars scream British opulence in the most obvious way. You have the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys, but come to think of it, Britain, just like India, has tight city roads. That's where this comes in. Now it's pretty debatable as to whether Mini is still British or is it considered German now, but I think that's a topic for another day. Today we're here to find out if this 2024 Mini Cooper S still drives like one of its predecessors, because let's face it, a Mini has always been a driver's car. Before we get into the car, let's get over with the basics. The Mini Cooper has grown up. It's gotten evidently larger over the generations, but the essence remains the same. The headlights, the grille, still as iconic as I remember, but the overall proportions have gotten a lot more bubbly. And I think that's where the BMW influence gets in. Nevertheless, the wheels, these 17-inch wheels, they look quite stunning, but in the side profile, I have a bone to pick with Mini. In the electric version of this car, you get flush door handles, but in this ICE version, you get these pop-out ones. How much money did you really save on that, Mini? Over at the rear, things are simple. It gets a full LED treatment as well, and I'm so glad that Mini have done away with the Union Jack flag in the tail lights. A bit too much in my opinion. What isn't too much though is this color. It's called Sunny Side Yellow, making this look like the perfect breakfast run vehicle. Mini has stepped up their interiors by a long shot, and that actually threatens other manufacturers, because just look at this bold move. Whoever in their right mind would have thought of putting a circular infotainment in their vehicle. And the best part is that this actually fits with the personality of the car. It uses an OLED panel, it's absolutely stunning to look at. The menus are laid out very well and it's very easy to use on the move. For that matter of fact, you don't even get instrumentation for the driver. All you get is a head-up display because everything is buried into the screen. It might be a little off-putting to look at the speed every time you look in the middle, but it's fine, it works really well. Another thing about this dash that I would like to say is this material used over here. It's not contemporary. It's, I think, made of recycled material, and my only thing is, how would you ever clean it? Because it's kind of a mesh. If you ever feel like putting stuff in the boot, you might want to avoid carrying those extra passengers. As with all the seats in place, you only get 210 liters of boot capacity. It's only when you fold down the 60-40 split bench can you access the full 725 liters of space. Now, let's get to my favorite part. Now the best part about the Mini Cooper can only be experienced from the driver's seat. When I say experience, I mean that in the most literal term. But more on that in a minute. Now this 2-liter 4-cylinder engine is quite a joy to put to the test. It might only produce 204 PS on paper, which isn't the most ludicrous number, but keeping this car's form factor in mind, it is a total hoot. You don't even have to tap the accelerator pedal flat on the floor. Just a slight tap and this thing's gone in the wind. The Harman Kardon sound system serves a very important role in this powertrain, and that is pumping in engine noise into the cabin. Something most people believe is in poor taste, but I don't mind it at all. I believe it enhances the driving experience. Now, coming back to the experiences bit, Mini has not given this any driving modes. Instead, you get experiences. You get stuff like Vivid and Green and Core, and there's a bunch of them, but what you need to know is that there's just one that feels drastically different from the remaining, and that would be the go-kart mode. The throttle gets more sensitive, the suspension feels noticeably more stiff, and all of a sudden you feel like you are driving a go-kart on the streets. The car also feels effortlessly agile. There is a bit of understeer too, but it's not the kind that would jump scare you. It's just the right amount that would keep you engaged and put a big fat smile on your face. Pretty much like the one that you see on mine right now. Now the ride quality is just about all right. It does well in the city for everyday driving, but keep a lookout for those larger potholes as this thing might just bottom out. I'll cut Mini some slack here, as this is still a very small car and the suspension is tuned for it to enjoy harder bends rather than to loft you in luxury. Even though you sit quite low, you don't feel as much of the road on your bottom as you would think. So that's great. Now this is a very special Mini Cooper because as it stands, this is going to be the last of the Coopers that will derive its power from a pure petrol engine. It's all going EV after this. But still, you can't get this with a manual transmission. Now while this automatic works flawlessly, the desire to drive one with a third pedal really tickles my bones. Nevertheless, this auto is razor sharp. Never mind the speed you're cruising at, you put your foot down, the gearbox drops a gear or two unnoticeably, and without you even realizing it, you're going a lot faster than you actually think you are. It's needless to say the Mini Cooper S doesn't face any competition, at least in India. At Rs 44.90 lakh ex showroom, if you're on the hunt for something that could turn heads on the weekend, while at the same time be everyday user friendly, the Cooper S is a no-brainer. There might be hatchbacks on the market that are a lot more practical and even more affordable, but none of them hold a candle to the Mini Cooper in terms of sheer driving pleasure and the obvious cool factor.